Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star 2, Land of Origin based on novel. So let's start. Luo-hee, how did you cultivate your physical body? I can be sure you haven't cultivated the primordial bloodline, yet how is your physical body stronger than mine? The City Lord of Desert Wind City asked, while getting beaten, still managing to inquire. Don't waste your effort. It seems I get injured again and again, but actually, I haven't spent a drop of divine power, said the City Lord of Desert Wind City, as he was getting hit. I can't fight you, but the vitality of the primordial bloodline is beyond your imagination. Luo Feng stopped, nodded and said, your physical body is indeed very resilient. As he spoke, a giant blood shadow knife suddenly appeared in Luo Feng's right hand out of thin air. A knife? The City Lord of Desert Wind still didn't care. Slash. Luo Feng, holding the City Lord of Desert Wind by the throat in his left hand, casually tossed him aside, while at the same time, his right hand had already swung the knife. At that moment, nearly 9 billion strands of Black River power condensed into one, channeling through the heavy and incredibly sharp blood shadow knife, cleaving forcefully into the waist of the City Lord of Desert Wind. Thick skin, a layer of tough flesh, bone armor. This blood shadow knife, which had been thoroughly transformed by the hands of teacher Emperor Chu, had the potential to point directly to the ultimate realm of Godly King. Luo Feng's strength concentrated on the knife's edge was clearly far more terrifying than fighting barehanded. Phut, the City Lord of Desert Wind's waist was completely severed, his body split in two. It's useless, you cannot do anything to, what? The City Lord of Desert Wind's eyes widened. At that moment, black rivers flowed out from Luo Feng's body surface, churning and immediately enveloping the City Lord of Desert Wind's two severed halves. After being split in two, the strength that erupted from each half was on the decline. Slash. 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 Luo Feng swung the blood shadow knife continuously, cleaving at the halves of the City Lord of Desert Wind's body, turning them into dozens of pieces of flesh in the blink of an eye, each piece condensing into a lump of meat. Dozens of meat lumps, still resilient and filled with endless life force. Don't say turning into meat lumps, even if into minced meat, into tiny particles. I still will not die, ha ha ha. Voices emanated from the dozens of meat lumps, despite them being overwhelmed by divine power. The dozens of large meat lumps were still struggling, but they were all ensnared by the Black River. Even cut up like this, it feels like his strength hasn't diminished much. Luo Feng observed those lumps of flesh. After splitting into dozens of pieces, each piece's power to resist had greatly diminished, feeling no more than the resistance of one at the pinnacle of primal chaos realm. To have shattered my complete body, I admire you, but you cannot kill me. Even if you were several times stronger, it would still be impossible to kill me, the voice of the City Lord of Desert Wind echoed around. Primordial bloodline, its vitality is indeed strong, Luo Feng nodded with a word of praise. Luo-hee, you cannot always be suppressing me, right? Constantly diverting your attention to suppress me influences your cultivation, said the City Lord of Desert Wind. Cultivation requires undivided attention and enough focus. And to suppress the City Lord of Desert Wind with the Black River indeed occupies a portion of heart force, affecting cultivation as well. So, you might as well let me go, the City Lord of Desert Wind persuaded, this time I have offended you. If you let me go, I will give you 10 billion cosmic sand as an apology, how about that? Let you go. Luo Feng laughed, this true body of yours is quite a treasure. Even if the City Lord of Desert Wind were to actively annihilate this body, the treasures carried by the true body were very valuable. And Luo Feng was well aware that the primordial bloodline's true body was very important. Actively annihilating it wanting to cultivate it back again. It would be very troublesome, with a great cost. You want to keep suppressing me? The City Lord of Desert Wind started to struggle, dozens of pieces of flesh struggling, their might quite terrifying. Luo Feng immediately suppressed them with the Black River. You want to always divide your attention to suppress me. How will you cultivate? Collect. Luo Feng wrapped up several fleshy masses with the Black River and sent them all into the Star Tower. In one of the spatial layers of the Star Tower, this layer was naturally divided into thousands of smaller spaces. Luo Feng threw dozens of fleshy masses into these smaller spaces. Suppress. The Star Tower had the ability to oppress and seal. Dozens of fleshy masses were thrown in, and they twisted into the forms of the various Desert Wind City Lords. The numerous Desert Wind City Lords looked around in shock. They could even see each other in the different small spaces from a great distance, but couldn't come any closer. Let me out. The numerous Desert Wind City Lords attacked the small spaces in a frenzy, but obviously, they could not shake them in the slightest. The stability of the Star Tower, such that even Luo Feng, giving all his effort, couldn't disturb it, was beyond what Luo Feng thought any godly king-level palace secret treasure was capable of. Now that the Desert Wind City Lords had been split, their resistance was merely at the pinnacle of primal chaos level, and couldn't resist at all. Let me out, the Desert Wind City Lords shouted desperately in anger, but within the sealed space, their voices could not even spread. Is it a godly king-level palace secret treasure? He actually has a godly king-level palace secret treasure. Desert Wind City Lord couldn't believe it. Even the great Saint Baiyun only had one godly king-level weapon, the heaven-cutting sword. This godly king-level palace secret treasure, even the simplest one from the first realm of godly king, is worth much more. I'm suppressed within a godly king-level palace secret treasure. He doesn't need to pay much attention to me. Am I just going to be suppressed like this? Desert Wind City Lord realized the gravity of the situation. He originally thought that Luo He, in order to cultivate, couldn't be distracted to suppress him for long and would eventually let him go. Abandon this physical body. Desert Wind City Lord was very clear about how much he had invested to cultivate this primordial bloodline physical body. He didn't even have a single godly king-level weapon. Almost all his resources had been spent on this body. Luo He, you tell me, what conditions are needed to let me go? Desert Wind City Lord gave in. As long as I can do it, I will. How many treasures can you bring out? Luo Feng's voice finally rang out. I'll try to gather them. I can assemble 800 billion cosmic sand, Desert Wind City Lord said. 800 billion cosmic sand. Luo Feng couldn't help but say, you, a transcendence of primal chaos realm, can only get 800 billion cosmic sand. That was too poor. He was ready to offer hundreds of billions of cosmic sand, just for the bounty on perfect primal chaos layer creature materials. Desert Wind City Lord felt aggrieved. Not long ago, he sold 12 blood spirit golden pearls to the Two Realms Palace, earning 360 billion cosmic sand. If not for this income, he couldn't even come up with 800 billion cosmic sand. The cultivation of primordial bloodline consumes a lot of resources, Desert Wind City Lord said. 800 billion cosmic sand. I've already given my all. Then you can't get out, Luo Feng said, jokingly. 800 billion cosmic sand could only buy an ordinary weapon from the first realm of Godly King, to exchange for Desert Wind City Lord's physical body. Desert Wind City Lord fell silent. He still had one method left. As a member of the Thunder Ancient Country Imperial Clan, he could ask his clan to redeem him. But in that case, whatever the clan paid, he would have to repay in the future. Luo Feng stood beside Blood Spirit Star, sensing the Desert Wind City Lord imprisoned within the Star Tower in his body. A primordial bloodline physical body, how could I release it without enough benefits? Luo Feng looked up at the Blood Spirit Star. The flames of Blood Spirit Star erupted as another 9 Blood Spirit Golden Pearls flew out, wrapped up by the domain of the Dark World and delivered into Luo Feng's hands. Luo Feng looked at the 9 Blood Spirit Golden Pearls floating above his palm. This Blood Spirit Golden Pearl mission, I'm without competition now. Brother Chu Yu, I've lived up to you, Luo Feng smiled. Flame Wind Ancient Country, Chu Capital. Luo Feng also had an avatar residing in Chu Capital, carrying 100 million black rivers and a portion of his divine power reserve. This avatar was weaker than his true body, but still stronger than Great Saint Bai Yun and the City Lord of Desert Wind City. Brother Luo He, I heard that you single-handedly swept through Great Saint Bai Yun, Lord of Yuan Xiu Mansion, the City Lord of Desert Wind City, and Great Saint Yang Su and monopolized the Blood Spirit Golden Pearls. A message arrived. Can you sell me the complete video information of your victory over these 4 to the Flame Wind Association's Dark Hall? Luo Feng was somewhat surprised. Buying information about oneself. That had never happened before. The entire process of the battle that had just occurred was known only to him, and next most knowledgeable was the City Lord of Desert Wind City. And since the City Lord was from the Thunder Ancient Country's Imperial clan, the Flame Wind Pavilion likely did not want to contact him. As the victor of this battle, I believe Brother Luo his information would be the most comprehensive. The Flame Wind Association's Dark Hall communicated, we are willing to pay 100 billion cosmic sand for the complete video footage of the battle. 200 billion cosmic sand, Luo Feng responded. Brother Luo He, not many in the land of origin can afford your detailed information, only the godly kings, and a very few from the primal chaos realm. Among them, only a few will buy, and they might even share information with each other, the Flame Wind Pavilion replied. One strong figure might purchase, then share with a few friends. The Flame Wind Pavilion had no way to stop this. Then 150 billion cosmic sand, Luo Feng stepped back, no less. Alright, then the Flame Wind Pavilion would like to befriend the great Saint Luo He. The Dark Hall of the Flame Wind Pavilion was quite polite. Luo Feng did not know who was contacting him, since this was an official message from the Dark Hall, but daring to say the Flame Wind Pavilion wants to befriend great Saint Luo He, it must be someone high up in the Flame Wind Pavilion. This 150 billion cosmic sand, is it credited to your name, Luo He? Yes, this is the complete video of the previous battle. Luo Feng did not conceal it. If the Flame Wind Pavilion truly wanted to investigate, both Yang Su and Great Saint Bai Yun had parts of the battle video, and the impoverished City Lord of Desert Wind even had the complete footage. So it was better to let oneself earn this money. In fact, the Flame Wind Pavilion could also use space-time methods to trace the clues, but that would be too costly. Better to spend some cosmic sand to buy directly from the victor, which was cheaper. Finally made up for some blood loss. After Luo Feng mastered the Tri-Unity body refining secret technique, the task he had posted at the Flame Wind Pavilion seeking perfect primal chaos layer creature materials had ended, but the expenses were still quite large. Within a phantom realm. What a Luo He, a misty figure formed, quite annoyed. I managed through the City Lord of Desert Wind and Yang Su, to gather 20 Blood Spirit Golden Pearls last time, and gave them to Marquis Chu Chang. Great Saint Bai Yun obtained 25 Blood Spirit Golden Pearls, only slightly more than Marquis Chu Chang. His plan was to assist Marquis Chu Chang to secure the second place. The Blood Spirit Golden Pearl task, by his estimation, would see Marquis Chu Ying and Marquis Chu Chang far ahead, while the other 5 first-class marquises would lag far behind. Now, the Blood Spirit Golden Pearls have been monopolized by Luo He. If it weren't for him being a disciple of Emperor Chu, a transcendent from the primal chaos realm daring to be presumptuous with me, HMPH, I would make him realize the price of disrespect. The misty figure, as a member within the Two Realms Palace, had been too high and mighty in the land of origin. Luo Feng's disrespect had already ignited his anger. But Luo Feng's master was Emperor Chu. He could only stay calm. The latest complete information on Luo He, the misty figure, immediately bought it upon thinking. The complete information's purchase price was 100 million cosmic sand, which he did not care about. Although he thought highly of himself, the complete information from the Flame Wind Pavilion was still extremely valuable. This complete information included a recent battle where Lord Yuan Xiao withdrew first. All of Yang Su's avatars were annihilated. Great Saint Bai Yun pierced through the membrane wall of the Dark World to escape. The City Lord of Desert Wind was brutally battered by Luo his bare hands, and Luo Feng slashed him into dozens of pieces with the Blood Shadow knife and collected them. Luo He, a direct disciple of Emperor Chu. He cultivates the origin great Tao of life, destruction, and matter, combining the three to create his own body refining method, reaching the level of a cosmic body. His Black River world, even Great Saint Yang Su cannot break through. His surging Black River domain, even the City Lord of Desert Wind, can only drift along helplessly, unable to control anything. World, domain, long-range attacks, close combat, physical body, the integration of the three origin great Taos, makes him flawless in every aspect, undoubtedly the first among those who have transcended the primal chaos realm. Important note, first, his physical body carries extremely strong life spirituality, with every bit of flesh and blood able to transform into an independent avatar. His number of avatars is innumerable. Second, to control a body far surpassing the primordial bloodline flesh body in the primal chaos realm, he must possess a heart force far surpassing his peers, his spiritual will, at least at the second realm of Godly King. The more terrifying the physical body, the higher the required spiritual will to control it. Luo Feng's perfect divine body, bringing powerful soul, second realm Godly King spiritual will combined with the Lai Yuan technique. Just controlling 100 billion black rivers consumes more than half of his heart force already. Flame Wind Pavilion, not expecting the perfect divine body, determined that Luo Feng's spiritual will was at least at the second realm of Godly King, was already very accurate. Third, his strength attained the first amongst those who have transcended the primal chaos realm without reliance on primordial force, primordial materials, or primordial bloodline, but by creating his own body refining secret technique, with a talent so high, it's unimaginable. It can be inferred that, in the not-so-distant future, he will become a Godly King. Once he reaches the Godly King level, his strength will increase comprehensively. And his master, Emperor Chu, is quite protective, definitely will cultivate Luo He with all his might. The misty figure reviewed this detailed information, containing segments of video, and a lot of conjectural information. Primal Chaos Realm, at least second realm of Godly King's spiritual will, the misty figure muttered, no wonder he could withstand the two realms palace's induction. This Luo He is not easy to deal with, the misty figure said, understanding this fact as he looked at the intelligence report. Other transcendents of primal chaos realm relied on external objects to cultivate, and their realm accumulation was not profound, making it difficult to become a Godly King. But Luo Feng, who created his own body refining method to transcend in primal chaos realm, had a much deeper accumulation, and a much greater chance of becoming a Godly King. Years are long, and there will be plenty of opportunities in the future, the misty figure thought. Once a major turmoil arises, even the Emperor of Flame Wind Ancient Country, and the Monarch of Thunder Ancient Country will be driven to madness. At that time, amid the whirlpool, a slight push will be enough to cast Luo He into the endless abyss. This little fellow has no idea how tumultuous the undercurrents at the Godly King tier can be, the misty figure snickered. Even now, Luo Feng had no idea who this powerful figure from the Two Realms Palace actually was. That was the terrifying part of the Two Realms Palace. They stirred up storms, yet their identities remained a mystery. Chu Capital, Marquis Chu Yu Mansion. Brother Luo He, you swept away the other four and took exclusive control of the Blood Spirit Star. Marquis Chu Yu naturally got the news from a friend first, and it baffled him. Exclusive control of Blood Spirit Star. Didn't that mean he was already first in one of the 3 subtasks of the heavenly task, and in a clear lead at that? What exactly is going on? Marquis Chu Yu immediately sought to find out, and soon purchased the latest complete intelligence report on Luo Feng. This complete intelligence report astounded Marquis Chu Yu. Avatars, too numerous to count. At least a godly king's second realm spiritual will. Creatively self-formulated body refining method, talent unbelievably high. Marquis Chu Yu, himself a transcendent of primal chaos realm, with unlimited godly bodies and quite high talent, understood very well the implications hidden within this intelligence. It meant number 1 among the transcendents of the primal chaos realm. And without relying on external items. To think that I chose such an incredible guest elder in Huyang City, Marquis Chu Yu could hardly believe it himself, recalling that Luo he was only an eternal true god, when they had first met. Marquis Chu Yu soon calmed down. Does brother Luo he know how much of his information has been leaked? Marquis Chu Yu, not daring to hesitate, immediately sent this report to Luo Feng. Ha ha, don't worry. Some of the information was sold to the Flame Wind Pavilion by me, Luo Feng responded. Luo Feng, upon seeing this detailed intelligence, was also astounded. Avatars. Spiritual will. Quite a comprehensive deduction. They think highly of me. I actually haven't studied the origin Tao of matter, Luo Feng thought. The intelligence was already quite comprehensive, recording almost all of his methods. Of course, some methods, such as his application of the spiritual will using the Lai Yuan technique, and some capabilities of the Star Tower and perfect divine body, were things the Flame Wind Pavilion could not have anticipated. Just as this intelligence says, I should increase my accumulation and try to become a godly king as quickly as possible, Luo Feng was clear. Realm is fundamental. Secret techniques are just branches. The higher the realm, the more powerful one's various methods can become. Palace of Emperor Chu. Ha ha ha, the Flame Wind Pavilion got it right with this report. Emperor Chu looked at the report, bursting with joy and delight. The level of my disciple Luo Feng's talent is beyond imagination, achieving transcendence of primal chaos realm as number 1 with his own created secret technique. He's far stronger than other transcendents of the primal chaos realm. What's the use of external aid? Like Marquis Chu Yuan, the strongest among the 7 first-class marquises, also has hopes of transcending in the primal chaos realm. But that's with the aid of a primordial bloodline, and his self-comprehension of the great Tao is much weaker. Previously, among a group of inadequate candidates, Emperor Chu was willing to nurture Marquis Chu Yuan. After all, in Emperor Chu's lineage, there were only 2 transcendents of primal chaos realm before Luo Feng arrived. But now, with Luo Feng here, Emperor Chu felt that the others were just too ordinary. Having such a talented disciple truly feels comforting. This is what high talent means, achieving transcendence of primal chaos realm as number 1 in such a short time. I believe it won't be long before he becomes a godly king, Emperor Chu thought. I also need to think of ways to arrange some important resources for my disciple. The resources needed by godly kings are most importantly not those granted by the primogenitors of flame, wind, or thunder, but those left by Yuan. Yuan harbored goodwill towards the godly kings of the land of origin, leaving behind many resources for them to compete over, with the capable naturally obtaining more. Like the Lai Yuan technique, for example. Yuan knew it was difficult to master, so he left many copies behind, and it was in the primordial cosmos that Luo Feng mastered it. Once he did, all other carriers of the Lai Yuan technique vanished. And there are still plenty of similar resources. Whether inheritance, weapons and treasures, or opportunities. Those ancient beings would also spare no expense for these. No hurry, Plan slowly, Emperor Chu thought. This video will end here.